Mayor Andrew Ginther answered tough questions this week about the state of police-community relations in Columbus. Welcome to The Spectrum. I'm Ted Hart, sitting in this week for Colleen Marshall. A number of high-profile incidents involving Columbus police and young black men in Columbus has stirred emotions and triggered protests and several internal investigations at the Columbus Division of Police. In April, a cell phone video captured an officer stomping a suspect who was on the ground. The officer in that case was fired, but the police union is appealing that. And then earlier this month, the violent arrest of suspect Timothy Davis has raised questions about police use of force. One officer was suspended from that incident for using language at the scene that the chief has referred to as appalling. It is with that backdrop that Colleen Marshall interviewed the mayor this week at the Columbus Metropolitan Club.
We know that police-community relations, not just in Columbus, but around the country, have never been more complicated and complex. Relationships are strained. Trust is shaken. At the same time, we know it has never been more dangerous to be a law enforcement officer in America. And it is a time when it really requires us collectively to come together, to talk transparently, to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable and that we're being responsive to the community. So some of the things that we have done is listen to the community as we have put in place different types of training and support for our officers. We've retooled the Community Safety Initiative based on input from the community. We started a pilot project in Linden this year, Safe Streets, putting more officers on bicycles on patrol in neighborhoods that showed some great results in the Linden neighborhood, building positive community relationships, retooling our apps program so that we can help. The best way to deal with strained relationships is making sure that our officers have personal relationships with those in the neighborhoods they serve.
Is it a valid concern when we have citizens of this city saying there's pervasive racism within the administration and within this police department?
I think that there is no evidence to support that there is a pervasive problem within the Columbus Division of Police. These two incidents that have been so high profile, that have received so much attention, we're taking very, very seriously. And I think you saw the chief and the director of the Department of Public Safety conduct a very thorough investigation and took very clear action based on the earlier incident, and they're conducting a thorough and independent investigation of the second one now. I can tell you, as an office holder in this community for over a decade, I have met thousands of police officers, outstanding women and men who serve this community honorably and went into law enforcement to protect and serve the people of Columbus. But as in any profession, whether news anchors or mayors or custodians or law enforcement, there are going to be people that don't belong in those professions. And this was what's so important. We give our officers incredible power. You and I don't have that power. The governor and the president do not have the power to stop, detain, question, and arrest, take away someone's freedom. So with that incredible trust and power that we give them, there is a sacred responsibility that they have to make sure they're being transparent, accountable, and responsive. And that's why body-worn cameras have been such a high priority for me, because we know that it improves safety on both sides of the camera, every place that they've been implemented around the country. So we're at 300 now, and I think we'll be at 1,300 by the end of 2018. And I think that's another tool that we're going to use to help improve police community relations, but also make sure that folks on both sides of the camera are safe and get home to their families.
The FOP recently voted a vote of no confidence for this administration. You have been a supporter of police throughout your career.
I didn't quit.
And so my question to you is, do you think that was a justified vote, and how did it personally make you feel?
You know, I won't get into those things. The bottom line is the people of Columbus elected me mayor to bring people together to solve tough problems. And we're going to continue to work at this regardless of who the leadership of the FOP is or any other collective bargaining unit and group. The people of Columbus expect results. They expect us to deliver to neighborhoods throughout this great city, to be transparent, accountable, and responsive. So I'm not going to get into the back and forth and this and that. I will tell you that I answer to the people of Columbus, and the people of Columbus expect results and expect me to work with folks that I agree with and that I don't agree with to get things done.
You know, as you look at statistics, we have a murder rate right now that's higher than I remember it. I think we're up to 97 so far
correct.
this year.
Yes.
Comparable, if you look per capita, comparable to cities like New York and LA. What's behind this rise in the murder rate, and what is it that the city's not doing to maybe control the violence in some of our neighborhoods?
75% of the victims of homicide in this community this year are African American men between the ages of 22 and 40. 80% of those homicide victims were killed using a gun. We as a community have also seen a spike in double homicides. A number of homicides in a particular neighborhood, Wedgwood on the west side, and a jump in domestic-related homicides, revolving out of situations involving domestic violence and domestic dispute. We collectively, as a community, have to come to grips with the fact that we have a lot of young people in this community who are resolving disputes or rival gangs, drug activity, that are resolving them through firearms. And young men are dying at an alarming rate, not only ripping apart families, but really undercutting the entire potential of this community. So what we're doing is a couple of new things. Retooling the community safety initiative that I talked about previously, the Safe Streets Initiative pilot that we started in Linden, we're looking to expand to other places. The Violence Reduction Initiative that'll start this fall that was just written about recently, where we do an intervention with young people, particularly young men that have been involved in some more minor, lower level crime, but certainly look to be on the trajectory of more violent and illegal behavior, and give them an opportunity, show them the stats, show them where, 75% in the case of African American young men between the ages of 22 to 40, where that result lies, and providing other opportunities, constructive ways, and opportunities around workforce development, apprenticeship, training, and social services, if that's a need, with mental health and addiction and substance abuse, to give them a pathway out of that dead end